What's up, True Team? It's your girl, Mickey Truth, SC's #1 urban blogger and the queen of paperwork. Y'all know I have been documenting, blogging, in regards to the disappearance of my cousin Angela Fuller and now the murder investigation of my cousin, okay? Like we watched the other day on live, City of Columbia Police Department has officially charged Anthony Reese, who was at the time my cousin's boyfriend, of her murder. I appeared in his federal court hearing on Thursday. He got denied bond in his federal charge. Well, yesterday, we went down to the bond court at Albanese Glen Detention Center for the new charges, which include the murder of my cousin, the moving of her deceased body, possession of a weapon, and there's one more I can't think off the top of my head. When we got down to Albanese Glen, it had been definitely a minute since I've been down there for a bond hearing. Okay, so it was myself and some other family members that were down there. It was, I believe, like the victim advocate. And we got inside. They only allowed one person in the family to go back because they said it was the judge's orders. You know, the media was gonna be in there, right? So eventually they came back out and allowed a second person to go in. So two family members were able to go inside the bond hearing, plus the media. So, I was speaking, outside while we were just waiting in the parking lot, and I'm like, at this point, it feel like I might need to get on my media stuff with this case so that I can make sure I'm a part of it, since the media is such a big umbrella when it comes to these major cases. And right now, this is a major case from our area. Well, the news has released the bond hearing, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I watched it, and at the end, I said, did this nigga really just smile as when he walked off after being officially charged for the murder of my cousin Angela Fuller? Like this sick individual, and it's so much rage. I'm like, you're really smiling. Then when he turned around and saw the camera, it's like he tried to take the smile off her. No, matter of fact, maybe it's just my eyes, maybe, but I'm gonna include the bond hearing because again, we are documenting the process because at the end of the day, we're gonna keep her name alive, Angela Fuller. We want justice to the max when it comes to Anthony Reese. Let's get into it.
We have Mickey Truth.
Who is this? You got Mickey Truth kicked out.
Shout out Mickey.
Let's get one thing clear. This your girl, Mickey Truth.
Priority not to go on a particular piece of property again until you trial. You have the right and duty and obligation to be present at your trial. However, your trial will proceed in your presence without your presence, even if you fail to appear. Failure to appear in connection with a felony can carry an additional penalty of a fine of up to $5,000, imprisonment of up to 5 years, or both. More importantly, failure to appear constitutes a waiver of your right to a lawyer, which is one of the most important rights that you have in the criminal justice system. And you waive that right when you fail to appear. It is highly encouraged that you have a lawyer to represent you in this matter of processing this criminal charge that you're facing. However, you do have the constitutional right to represent yourself, which we discourage. More importantly, failure to appear constitutes a waiver of your right to a lawyer, which is one of the most important rights that you have in the criminal justice system. And you waive that right when you fail to appear. You will be given a form, we call it Faretto warnings. Those are the dangers of self-representation. And you have to read that form and sign that form, but the important points are as follows. Self-representation can be dangerous, and you have the right to have assistance of a lawyer at all stages of the proceedings. And if you cannot afford a lawyer, one can be appointed to represent you. There may be issues that you may not be aware of that would be your attorney's responsibility to be aware of such issues, how to properly present them before the court, and if necessary, preserve those issues for appeal. There may be collateral issues that you may not be aware of, including but not limited to, you could face increased penalties for subsequent offenses, suspension of your driver's license, suspension of the right to have ammunition and or firearms, or your immigration status may be affected. Those are the highlights of the forever blanks, but there will be in more detail as you read them and sign. Since you're charged with a general sessions offense, you have a right to a preliminary hearing. You must request that hearing within 10 days of the day's date, or you will waive that right to your hearing. I'm considering two things when I set your bond. First, what I think you're a risk of flight. Second, what I think you're a danger to the community. All right, those are general observations. We're calling Mr. Anthony Reese. Mr. Reese, if you'll stand up on the that little platform and that little right there, exactly. All right. All right, let me express the reflect that this is a bond setting for Mr. Anthony Reese. And Mr. Reese, you are charged with murder, possession of weapon during a violent crime, possession of a stolen pistol, and unauthorized removal of a deceased body from the place of found. The record reflect that victims are present, such victims as want to appear. So this is, since this is a murder charge, this court does not have jurisdiction to set your bond. In the municipal court, only the Court of General Sessions in the circuit court can set your bond. So I will not be setting the bond this morning. You will be transferred at some point to have your bond set in General Sessions Court. However, I can determine whether or not you want to have a lawyer appointed to represent you if you cannot afford one. Do you want one if you cannot afford one?
Yes.
All right. Do you presently work?
No.
All right. When was the last time you did work?
Been a while.
What were you doing last?
Painting.
Painting. Okay. How long ago was that?
About 2 years.
Okay. So, do you have any dependents that you claim on your income taxes?
Yeah, one.
One? Is that a child?
Yeah.
How old?
14.
But you have zero income? Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Sir, I'm going to grant your application for appointment of counsel, which will most likely be the public defender's office, unless they have some type of conflict. All right. With that being said, this matter is going to next be handled in the Court of General Sessions. All right. Good luck to you, sir. All right. Thank you all for appearing. I appreciate it. And the next bond here is will be set in General Sessions Court. All right. Good luck to you.